Most people try to become attractive by adding more words, more effort, more approval. But real attraction doesn't come from what you add, it comes from what you remove. When your mind is steady, your presence becomes heavy. When your emotions are disciplined, your silence speaks louder than noise. Today, I'm going to share 6 habits that don't just make you attractive. They make you mentally unshakable. And once you build inner stability, the world responds automatically. Most people believe strength is shown in how loudly they react. They think intensity equals power, but that is the first illusion you must break. The moment something outside of you can pull an emotional response without your permission, you are no longer in control, you are being controlled. And people feel this immediately, even if they cannot explain it. They sense instability, they sense weakness. Observe your daily life. Someone disrespects you and your chest tightens. Someone ignores you and your thoughts spiral. Something does not go your way and your mood collapses. This is not because the situation is powerful, it is because your mind has not been trained. A trained mind does not react automatically. It creates space. And in that space, you choose your response. When you master your reactions, you stop leaking energy. You stop explaining yourself unnecessarily. You stop defending your ego. You stop trying to prove who you are. This calm control changes how people perceive you. Your presence becomes grounded. Your silence becomes louder than words. You are no longer predictable, and unpredictability rooted in calm creates respect. Mental strength begins the moment you pause before reacting. That pause is everything. It is the difference between being dragged by emotion and walking with intention. Anyone can react. Children react. Animals react. But responding requires awareness. And awareness is attractive because it signals maturity and self-mastery. You must understand this clearly. Reacting feels good in the moment. It releases pressure. But it always costs you later. It costs your dignity. It costs your clarity. It costs your power. Responding, on the other hand, feels uncomfortable at first because you are denying the ego its immediate release. But over time, it builds unshakable confidence. You start trusting yourself because you know nothing external can throw you off balance. Practice this when you are criticized. Do not rush to explain. Practice it when you are provoked. Do not rush to defend. Practice it when things do not go your way. Do not rush to complain. Each time you hold your reaction, you strengthen your mind the same way muscles are strengthened under resistance. This is why emotionally disciplined people appear attractive without trying. They are not pulled into chaos. They do not chase validation. They do not beg to be understood. Their calm creates a sense of safety, and humans are naturally drawn to what feels stable. Remember this, the one who controls the situation is not the loudest person in the room, but the one who can remain calm when everyone else loses themselves. Most people avoid discomfort their entire lives, and then wonder why their mind feels weak when pressure appears. The mind follows the body. When the body is always protected, the mind never learns endurance. Strength is not built in moments of ease. It is built when you choose what is difficult while you still have a choice. Discomfort is not punishment. It is training. Cold, silence, effort, restraint. These are not enemies. They are teachers. When you step into discomfort voluntarily, you send a clear signal to yourself. I am in control, not my cravings, not my fear, not my desire for ease. This alone reshapes how you carry yourself. Think about how quickly people quit when things become uncomfortable. The moment there is resistance, they look for escape. This creates a fragile mind that depends on conditions being perfect. But life does not care about your comfort. Pressure will come whether you are prepared or not. The disciplined person meets pressure calmly because they have already trained under it. When you take a cold shower, wake up early, train when you feel tired, or sit in silence when you want distraction, something subtle happens. You begin to trust yourself. Confidence is not loud. It is quiet certainty built from repeated proof that you can endure what most people avoid. And this kind of confidence cannot be faked. Discomfort sharpens awareness. When everything is comfortable, the mind becomes dull. but under strain, focus increases. You breathe deeper, you move with intention, you become present. This presence is felt by others. It creates a grounded energy that does not seek attention but naturally commands it. Most attraction today is based on performance. People try to impress, but performance collapses under pressure. Discipline does not. When someone sees that you can remain steady in discomfort, they sense reliability, they sense strength, and strength is universally respected. You must also understand that discomfort reveals truth. When things are hard, masks fall, excuses disappear. You see clearly where you lack discipline and where you need growth. Avoiding discomfort keeps you comfortable, but it also keeps you blind. Facing it forces honesty, and honesty is the doorway to transformation. Start small. Do not seek extremes. Seek consistency. A little discomfort, practice daily, creates a strong nervous system. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes normal. And when difficulty becomes normal, fear loses its grip. This is not about suffering, it is about choice. When you choose discomfort, you gain freedom. When you avoid it, you become a slave to ease. One path builds resilience, the other builds dependence. Many people speak not because they have something to say, but because they are uncomfortable with silence. They fill space with words to relieve their own anxiety. But silence is not emptiness. Silence is control. When you are at ease with silence, you are no longer trying to manage how others perceive you. Words are energy. Every unnecessary sentence weakens their impact. When you speak constantly, people stop listening. When you speak with intention, people lean in. This is not manipulation. It is respect for the weight of language. Those who understand this do not rush to share opinions. They observe first. They listen longer than they speak. And because of this, their words land with precision. Notice how quickly people explain themselves, how often they justify, defend, or overshare. This comes from insecurity. The need to be understood immediately is a sign of inner instability. A grounded mind does not chase agreement. It allows misunderstanding without panic. This restraint creates mystery, and mystery holds attention far longer than explanation ever could. When you reduce your words, your awareness expands. You start noticing tone, posture, breath, timing. Communication becomes deeper, not louder. You begin to respond rather than react. And this aligns with mental strength, clarity over chaos, intention over impulse. There is also discipline in speaking less. It requires you to tolerate discomfort. Silence can feel exposing at first because it removes the shield of noise. But once you sit in it, you realize silence gives you space to choose. You are no longer trapped by the need to perform. People often confuse confidence with dominance. True confidence does not compete for attention. It does not interrupt. It does not need to be right. It speaks when necessary and steps back when not. This balance creates authority without force. Others feel it even if they cannot name it. Think about leaders who command respect. They do not rush their words. They pause. They let moments settle. Their speech is measured because their mind is steady. And when they speak, it feels deliberate, not emotional. By speaking less, you also protect your energy. You stop engaging in unnecessary conflict. You stop leaking intention. You stop revealing your inner world to those who have not earned access to it. This is not coldness. It is self-respect. Train this habit daily. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this true? And is this the right moment? If it fails one of these, let it pass. Over time, you will notice a shift. People begin to listen more closely. Conversations slow down. Your presence becomes heavier, calmer, more grounded. Most people are not free. They are guided by invisible strings, pulled by opinions, approval, and the need to be liked. They may not admit it, but their mood rises and falls based on how others respond to them. This is a fragile way to live. When your self-worth depends on external validation, your power is always outside of you. The moment you start needing approval, you start negotiating your authenticity. You say what is safe instead of what is true. You do what is expected instead of what is right. Slowly, without noticing, you abandon yourself. And people can sense this. There is nothing attractive about someone who is constantly adjusting to be accepted. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop begging. It means you no longer place your inner balance in the hands of others. Praise and criticism become information, not identity. They pass through you without sticking. This emotional independence is rare, and rarity creates value. When you are detached from validation, your actions come from alignment, not reaction. You train because it is necessary, not because someone is watching. You improve because growth matters, not because you want applause. This builds integrity, and integrity creates a quiet confidence that does not announce itself. Notice how people change when they feel judged. Their body tightens, their voice shifts, their behavior becomes defensive or performative. This happens when the ego is fragile, but when validation no longer controls you, judgment loses its power. You remain steady, whether you are praised or ignored. This steadiness creates attraction because it feels solid. Humans are drawn to what feels anchored. When someone is not constantly seeking approval, they radiate self-trust. They move slower, they decide faster, they are not easily influenced, and this creates a sense of leadership without words. Detachment also protects your focus. When you stop checking how you are being perceived, your energy returns to what you are doing. Your attention sharpens, your presence deepens. You stop living in other people's minds and return to your own body. This is mental strength in its purest form. Understand this clearly. Validation is addictive. It feels good, but it weakens you over time. The more you receive it, the more you need it. Detachment breaks this cycle. It feels uncomfortable at first because the ego resists being ignored. But beyond that discomfort is freedom. Train this by doing things privately. Improve without announcing. Succeed without explaining. Let your work speak when it is ready. This builds inner stability that cannot be shaken by opinion. Most people believe desire is something to follow, something to satisfy as soon as it appears. Hunger comes, they eat. Urge comes, they obey. Want appears, they chase. This seems normal, but it slowly weakens the mind. Every time you obey an impulse without question, you teach yourself that you are not in control. Desire becomes the master, and you become the servant. Desire itself is not the problem. It is raw energy. Left unmanaged, it scatters your focus. Directed properly, it becomes fuel. The difference between the two is discipline. An undisciplined person is led in many directions at once. A disciplined person chooses one direction and moves with intention. Observe how desire affects clarity. When desire is strong, the mind narrows, judgment weakens, long-term thinking disappears. This is why people sabotage their progress for short-term pleasure, not because they are weak, but because they never trained restraint. Restraint is not suppression, it is awareness combined with choice. When you learn to pause before satisfying an urge, you create space. In that space, you regain authority over yourself. You realize you are not the urge, you are the one observing it. This realization is powerful. It restores dignity, and dignity changes how you carry yourself in every area of life. Uncontrolled desire creates dependency. Dependency creates anxiety. Anxiety leaks into your posture, your voice, your decisions. People feel this instability, but when desire is regulated, the nervous system settles. You move slower, you act cleaner, your presence becomes composed. This composure is deeply attractive because it signals self-command. Consider how often people distract themselves. Constant stimulation, constant consumption, constant escape. This keeps the mind restless. A restless mind cannot be strong. When you begin limiting indulgence, discomfort appears. But within that discomfort, focus sharpens, energy consolidates, you stop wasting yourself. Controlling desire also strengthens self-respect. Every time you say no to an impulse that does not serve you, trust in yourself grows. You begin to believe your own word. This inner agreement creates confidence that does not rely on appearance, status, or approval. This discipline carries into relationships. You stop chasing attention. You stop needing immediate gratification. You stop confusing intensity with connection. Instead, you choose alignment. You choose patience. You choose depth. And depth is rare. Do not try to eliminate desire. Learn to govern it. Decide when it is useful and when it is not. Let it serve your purpose, not sabotage it. Over time, the mind becomes quieter, the body steadier, and the will stronger. Most people live in constant mental noise. Thoughts pull them into the past, worries drag them into the future, and emotions rise and fall without permission. In this state, the mind is never truly here, and a mind that is never here cannot be strong. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is the ground from which clarity grows. Inner stillness is not something mystical. It is practical. It is the ability to sit with yourself without needing distraction. No phone, no noise, no escape. Just breath, awareness, and presence. At first, this feels uncomfortable because you finally hear the chaos you have been avoiding. But this is not a problem. This is the beginning of control. When the mind slows down, perception sharpens. You start noticing your breath, your posture, the tension in your body, the patterns in your thoughts. Awareness returns to the present moment, and the present moment is where power exists. You cannot control what you are not aware of. Stillness trains emotional balance. Instead of emotions pushing you into action, you watch them rise and fall. You realize they are temporary. This changes everything. You stop being afraid of your own feelings. Fear loses urgency. Anger loses momentum. Desire loses its grip. What remains is choice. People underestimate how attractive calm truly is. A calm person does not rush. They do not force outcomes. They do not chase energy. Their presence slows the room down. Others feel it immediately. Calm communicates confidence without explanation. It says, "Nothing here controls me." Daily stillness also strengthens discipline. Sitting quietly when the mind wants stimulation is a form of resistance training. You are teaching yourself to stay instead of escape. Over time, focus improves. Patience deepens. Decisions become cleaner. You stop acting from impulse and start acting from alignment. This practice does not require hours. It requires consistency. A few minutes of intentional stillness each day begins to rewire how you respond to life. You start carrying that calm into conversations, into conflict, into uncertainty. When pressure appears, your nervous system remembers stillness and does not panic. Stillness also reconnects you with intuition. When noise fades, inner signals become clearer. You sense when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when to remain silent. This timing is not learned intellectually, it is felt. And those who move with timing appear naturally confident and grounded. Understand this, the world will always be loud. Demands will never stop. Distractions will always be available. Stillness is a choice you must protect. It is not passive. It is an act of strength. When your mind becomes still, your presence becomes undeniable.